Mike, when did you shave the beard? You look weird.
Like 2 days ago. 3 days ago.
Do you like it? Do you prefer the beard?
Oh, no, yeah, I'm growing the beard back. Like, I can't stand this.
So what was the occasion that you shaved in the first place?
I just kind of was like, let's see how I look without a beard now, because I've lost like 70 pounds since the last time I didn't have a beard. So I was like, let's see what it looks like. And it's like, I look like a child. Let's grow a beard back. So
I mean, that's not a bad thing, right?
I would prefer just to look my own age. I feel like I will do that if I have a beard.
You like being bushy.
Yes. Yes, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
I don't know.
Bushy Mike Bradley. We just got a nickname for him.
I don't know where this conversation started, but I'm routinely mistaken for like 24, 25 years old.
Well,
and I don't.
Maybe it's because you don't have a beard.
Well, that's I came in on that part, and I'm wondering if that would have any bearing on it. But I don't grow facial hair very well. Like, it's just very obvious that I haven't shaved in a week, and I've never really tried to let it grow in, so I don't know how it. Like, it comes in even for the most part, but I've never let it really get beyond like a 10-day shave ever.
Let's face it, Josh, if you grew a beard, you'd look like Jesus.
Which may, have its perks and drawbacks at the same time, admittedly.
You could fuck with people, man.
You have a Halloween costume in the making right there.
Yeah, man, Buddy Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's the thing. If I ever did decide to do it, I could cosplay, I could cosplay a Buddy Christ really easily, even with like a fake beard or some, just like makeup to put in some like dark shadows on the face for the beard or something. But yeah, I don't know how I would look with legitimate facial hair. And I don't know, because of that, I don't know
There's only one way to find out.
This
shaves right off. You know?
I think it's an experiment worth trying.
It
comes off,
aggravating.
You know?
I know.
Save it for like the winter months to keep your face warm.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be
It'll grow faster now, actually.
It'll grow faster now that it's shaved?
No, just now that it's summer. More vitamin D, it'll grow faster.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that during the summer. Screw that.
Oh, there you go. Just sunbathe and wait till your beard to show up.
That's weird.
What are you doing out there, Josh, with all this
I'm bearding.
suntan lotion?
You're basically, I don't think you meant to, it wasn't deliberate, but you just turned me, like, as an experiment almost, into, like, a human chia pet.
Yes!
That's basically what you did.
I am going to get some weird grayish green paste and put it all over your face, and I am just going to... I'm going to shackle you onto a windowsill, and you're just going to sit there for a while.
Just go outside and wait for the sun to come in and just wait for that beard to sprout. Yeah, that's a chia pet, sir.
Yes.
Should I introduce you as Josh the human chia pet?
No.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Bry Guy and his Super Friends. I'm your host, Brian Labick. Joining me for this episode is Josh Zorich.
Hey, Mouth of the South Hills back again.
And Mike Bradley.
Jimmy Hart of the South Hills has me confused, so I'm here.
You're not used to that intro.
No, I wasn't anticipating that.
I guess you used to use that for a while. I think it's actually been a while, probably, since you used it the last time.
It's been a long time. Yeah, I actually almost forgot about it, and it just kind of sprang back in my head, like, I need to say something. Okay, here we go.
All right, so I'm sure you guys sort of missed us last week. We took a week off to recover from the 100th, which was exceedingly too long. Well, it wasn't like I'm making it sound like a bad thing. It was fun that it was that long. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that if you've sat through all 3 hours plus of that episode.
I did twice.
Twice?
Well,
you liked it that much?
I was there. I lived, as Pee Wee Herman would say, I don't need to see it. I lived it.
But that's how I feel. I did not listen to it again.
but then I did relive it and listened to it again.
So at least it holds up then for you.
Oh yeah. I think it's something you could go back to, time and again.
It's a time capsule. That's what that is.
Definitely.
And I'm sure, I guess if you guys are listening, you're probably wondering where the hell our Spider-Man review is. I gotta blame scheduling for that one. If you've listened frequently, you'll know Romano is usually our Spider-Man Uber fan. I was trying my best to schedule with him. It just didn't really work out. So I thought about going on without him. We didn't get enough people that actually saw the movie yet. So we're going to have to delay that hopefully until next week. So hopefully this time next week we'll have our Spider-Man review up. I'm sure you're anxious to listen to it. We're anxious to talk about it. So hopefully we can get to that next week. Although I guess, and I was looking about this today sort of when I was trying to schedule all this stuff, we may actually have a good bit of news to cover over the next few weeks because by the time this episode's up, D23 Expo will be concluded. That's actually this coming weekend. So I don't know what kind of announcements and stuff we'll get from that show. And then the following week is San Diego Comic-Con. So there will be all kinds of shit coming out of these two conventions, I think, over the next 2 weeks.
I actually seen a D23 sign they had up outside the convention center that finally showed off the Wasp's uniform for the movie.
I did see that.
That was interesting that they put that on a sign for like the reveal, but it was cool that it's there. Neat to see. Yeah. I'd look at the picture. I'd look it up if you're listening. Check it out. It's nothing that spectacular, but it's like the first bit from D23 that anything's happened.
Well, I was just kind of thinking too, like, do you guys expect to see, is there anything you guys expect to see or hear from either of those shows?
I was just about to
we could get?
I think you're going to get, I think you're going to get some kind of Infinity War footage. Was it last year or in an event a couple of months ago, was it? They put together that sort of like montage of, it was like movie clips about things, and then it culminated in like the reveal of what you were seeing was the gauntlet full of the stones, and then it like revealed like Infinity War, May 2018. Well,
they had that behind the scenes thing too that they released.
Yeah,
I don't remember when they did that.
I want to say it was like February or March, just announcing like the first day of filming. But do you think we'll get like any like official, even like officially created footage? You know, whether it's put in just like a teaser, sizzler, or something like that.
Well, the bad thing for us, the people that don't go to the show, a lot of that stuff doesn't make its way officially online. D23 stuff that they premiere there and show there as far as clips and trailers, that stuff notoriously does not make it online. Comic-Con, some of the stuff has been making its way online, either by bootleg or as soon as it gets bootlegged online, then they usually do an official release right after that because they don't want the bootleg version getting a bunch of hits. I really think if they're smart, as soon as they debut it at Comic-Con, they should release it online for everybody to watch. It just generates more hype that way. Yeah. Instead of trying to hold it back from people.
And they can control the media and the message and the campaign that much better.
So I feel like we'll hear probably a lot of descriptions of footage being shown, but I don't know if we'll actually see any footage from anything. Now, that being said, they might... I agree with you. I think this would be prime time to show some sort of Infinity War tease. Whether or not we're actually able to see it, not being at the show, I don't know.
Yeah, I would say tease at most.
Yeah, I'm not thinking anything beyond that. I mean, we've gotten the Thor trailer, and that comes out in November. We've gotten Black Panther now. Like that if we didn't get Black Panther, that was actually going to be my guess, is they were going to wait till Comic-Con for the big reveal. But now that we have that, the only next thing after that is Infinity War. Yeah. And it sounds like, is it D23 that you said has the Wasp?
Yes.
The Wasp reveal? Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they could be going, let's admit that, Ant-Man and the Wasp is going to be kind of like a B-side undercard to, the event that Infinity War is going to be. So they can go a little bit softer on reveal details about a project at D23 and then go big time, for the main event at Comic-Con with Infinity War if they want.
Well, the only thing with that is I don't think Marvel Studios is scheduled to be at Comic-Con, if I remember correctly. I remember seeing Marvel TV being listed, but I don't remember seeing Marvel Studios.
do you think Disney is trying to pull everything that they have just in-house for their event?
I would. If it's all under your brand and you are doing your own show,
yeah,
that is where you generate hype for your shit.
Yeah, I guess I have this feeling that things are going to get so specialized that, I mean, San Diego has proven to be such a success over the last 10 years because it was all inclusive. It was the studios and it was the makers bringing their stuff to the common ground, not here's our avenue, come find it.
Well, I think that was before everybody did like live streams and stuff like that. Like that was the avenue. Now there are so many different avenues to get your own stuff out there. People don't feel like they need to go to Comic-Con to announce things anymore.
I guess. I mean,
you can make a full news day. If the Infinity War trailer dropped tomorrow, that would overshadow any news that you hear for the next week.
Agreed. I guess I just feel like it provides a nice neutral place, like I said, if you will, where people can go. There's going to be TV and movies and projects from all kinds of studios, all kinds of sources, that feels like the creators are then celebrating the fans, whereas a D23 seems to be a let's celebrate ourselves and you guys cover us type of thing.
True. Well, I mean, the other side of it, too, is all the reveals that happen that weekend for the people in attendance. I think that's really cool for them to be there to see and experience all that stuff. But for, the people that are putting that stuff out, it's all about, like, I think they really want to try to, like, control the news cycle. Like, if you're debuting something that weekend along with everyone else, your stuff could get buried over top of or underneath someone else's bigger announcement. But if you announce it yourself somewhere, it might be easier to keep it afloat and keep people talking about it, type of thing.
Sure. Yes, yeah, you're not wrong about any of these points. I just am not a big fan of that movement, that's all.
Gotcha. All right, so we already got sort of sidetracked, but other than Infinity War, do you think we'll see anything else at either of these? Do you expect to see any announcements from it? The one question I have is, do we think we'll get any type of Han Solo tease?
No.
I feel like D23 would have been the place to do it.
Yeah, given everything that happened.
With all the stuff that happened. Yeah.
I don't think they have anything to tease yet.
Well, they said they're keeping some of the footage, I thought. Like, some of the stuff that was already shot is still usable. Like, you could cut something up with that.
Which I'm sure they could, but then the immediate thing that will get dissected is... I mean, Ron Howard has not had enough time to shoot new or reshot footage that has then gone through the editing process, gone through the special effects department, gone through the whole thing. So yeah, all they have to deal with right now is the original stuff. So then the immediate dissection will be, well, what was wrong with this? Why did they need to have somebody come in? Or, they're going to get lost in the story.
True. Yeah. That would be the downside to the whole thing. I'm just thinking, like, they could show something, like, show a clip of the Millennium Falcon. Even, you could have Alden Ehrenreich in the Han Solo getup with the Falcon. He won't even have to say a word. Like, that would be enough for me to get me excited, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if they go something as simple as that, then yeah, I think that could work. If they go much beyond, they probably don't want to put out all that much. Like I said, especially in their own expo, they don't want to highlight the problem, so to speak, with their own project.
Mike, you got any guesses what we could see?
No. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much think you're going to see what you've said. I don't think DC's got any big news coming for us. At Comic-Con, at D23, I don't think you're getting much that you wouldn't expect. At Comic-Con, we may get some sort of cool announcement about the next season of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Some preliminary trailer or something like that. But other than that, I don't know what I would see coming out of that I'd really be excited about. That I don't already know enough about that's gonna, rock me. But that's Comic-Con, though. If they have something planned that they have not let slip at all, that they're planning to announce there, that is going to be a big surprise, that's awesome. If not, It'll be about what I expect.
Yeah.
These aren't really geek-related things, so to speak, but I just thought of them. If they could absolutely drop at D23, especially, if we got teases for The Incredibles 2, I would lose my crap.
Yeah, because it's a Disney Expo, so any type of other, like the live-action movies they're planning, we could get any types of teases for those. Any other animated sequels that are on the docket, that could come. Even news about the Disney parks. They talked about that the last time D23 was done.
I did see that they had some possible confirmation that the girl from Power Rangers was signed up to play Jasmine for the Aladdin.
Oh, to play.
I saw that
early.
Yeah,
I saw that headline. I didn't see it official yet, so I didn't write it down.
Right, yeah, it's supposedly that's who they're talking to.
After her cliff diving scene in Power Rangers, I'd be fine with that.
All right, so I think we've sort of prefaced that enough. We'll see how right we are in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
And if there's anything worth talking about, we'll see. Hopefully we get some trailers. I love the trailers from Comic-Con. All that stuff usually gets me real excited, so I'm hoping we actually get some stuff to see.
Definitely.
But as for this week on this show, we tried to scramble, I guess, a little bit today to try to figure out what we want to talk about since we're not talking about Spider-Man. So we got a couple trailers to talk about within the last week or two that came out. Grabbed a couple headlines. We're going to try maybe a new segment that may be a reoccurring thing when Josh is on. And we'll probably end with a What's Up With You segment since we haven't really done that in a while. So we'll sort of catch up with everybody and see what's going on. So we're going to start with some news. Well, I guess the trailer for Marvel's Inhumans, which I guess if you remember back way when Marvel announced their Phase 3 movie schedule, the last movie that was supposed to come out was supposed to be Inhumans. Since then, it's been taken off the release schedule for the movies and is now being turned into a TV show. So it's a little bit different approach. It's kind of unique in that this TV show is debuting in theaters. The pilot, I think at least, was shot with IMAX cameras. So the first 2 episodes will be shown in IMAX in theaters on September 1st. The series itself will debut on ABC on September 29th, kicking off their first season. And I guess, like, really, if you're up to date on Marvel or ABC's other Marvel TV show, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you'll know that Inhumans have been a presence on the show for a few seasons now, so it's still kind of unclear if the shows will cross over at some point. I think maybe the cliffhanger for last season's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. may explain why there is no immediate crossover between the shows. I'm avoiding spoilers, so if you've seen it, you probably know what I'm talking about. So we'll see if they cover some of the same territory. Otherwise, I feel like it might be a kind of a missed opportunity. Since they're both dealing with Inhumans, they're not talking to each other or crossing over in some way. I think we've talked about this before, but do either of you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or no?
I have not.
I used to. I stopped with this season. I have not.
Okay.
I watched maybe the first 2 episodes of this season, and then it just kind of lost me.
Yeah, I think they're all. I think all the current seasons up to what they just finished, season 4 or 5. I can't keep track anymore. But I think they're all on Netflix now. If anyone's curious, it does start out kind of slow, but I think it's definitely getting better as the seasons go on. Yeah, okay. I was just curious if anybody knew or had a feeling how they might cross over and stuff like that. But yeah, I guess at this point we'll just have to wait and see. But what did you guys think of the trailer that we got for Inhumans?
One, I'm very glad they're doing Lockjaw. Yeah, like
that's the big dog, right?
Yeah, that's the big bulldog. I'm glad they didn't back off and make him like a normal sized bulldog or something. They went all in on making him a gigantic bulldog. I like that they did that. Looks like it's going to be a fun part of the show at least. The rest, I'm not so sure. I'm very hesitant.
Well, I will actually say that I kind of maybe went the opposite way, like not having watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. really, and just kind of walking into the trailer cold and not really knowing anything really about the Inhumans. I was actually a bit intrigued. I was like, okay. And I thought the idea of like, yeah, okay, they're doing like a simulcast live debut in theaters, so they still kind of get the property in theaters, so to speak, like they maybe originally intended. So you get that one-time event, and then you kind of move on from there with the rest of the series. Visually, it was much more intriguing than I expected it to be. Like, whatever my preconceptions of the characters were in my head, I liked how the show looks.
See, I kind of thought it looked really bland.
Oh, really?
Like, I don't know, for being something that they hyped as being, like, IMAX cameras, like, you can tell they tried to build up sets that look really unique and cool.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know, the sets and setting and stuff kind of fell flat to me. Like, okay, so you look at something like Legion, where the sets and the dressings and colors are used so well in Legion, and then you watch the Inhumans trailer, and it's just very gray and bland and flat, and there's not much there to look at.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I mean, and even that strikes back to the Inhumans comics were always incredibly colorful. You know, if you go back to, like, all the colors, characters, rather, where they, I mean, you had so many different colored characters going on and so many different things to look at in the comic, and you have, like what you said, it's very bland, kind of weak.
Like, the trailer itself got me interested to see what they do with the characters, but as far as the setting, like, what their headquarters looks like on the moon, I wasn't too impressed. Mm-hmm. I guess we'll see what happens. Like, the trailer hints at them coming to Earth, or at least some of them coming to Earth. So we'll sort of see if that looks any better, or how that plays out. But, yeah, my initial reaction with just the sets and stuff was kind of meh.
Yeah. I mean, and the costumes didn't throw me either, I think is what I was getting at. I don't know.
Yeah, I really wanted like a what do you call it? Like a cap thing, like that goes over Black Bolt's head. Like, doesn't he have a costume that like goes over his head?
Yep.
But I guess they have to show the guy's face that's playing him, so they can't.
See, to me, that's always been one of the good, mysterious qualities about Black Bolt is that he has that mask on and he doesn't speak. So it's just this mouth, really, that you only really get to see, and it always had that quality to it, where he was behind a mask, and it just, I don't know, like, the man who doesn't speak that also wears a mask is kind of like, to me, that solidifies what the character is.
Okay. Yeah, and then I think if I remember right, on the Facebook page, I think after I posted the trailer, I think Becky posted on there that, why does Medusa's wig look all fucked up?
Yeah.
Just say that's like their Oscar Isaac's Apocalypse Ivanhoe's moment, and that they're gonna go back and do some light reshoots or some post-production.
Yeah, we can hope. I mean, the only problem with like something of this scale that they're trying to do on a TV show budget, it seems like they spent all the money on cameras and not set dressings and costumes, which I think might be the wrong way to go. Like, I don't know if this deserves a theater release. Like, I don't really see the logic behind it.
Well, it's just for a PR push, just to make it a big debut, nothing more.
But is it like a one-night thing? Like, it's in theaters for September 1st and that's it?
That's what I would presume, yeah.
Okay.
Because, yeah, if that's the release of the first episode, then that's probably, the next week will be, like, episode 2. Like, that's it. It's just a launching pad.
You get like a full month before the show is on TV. Because it comes out in theaters September 1st. Okay. It's not on ABC until the 29th.
Okay. I mean, maybe then they're just trying to like put a little bit of buffer in to get word of mouth based on, people who got to go to see it in the theater, and then people can write up articles about the show and the experience of seeing it in the room and whatnot. Maybe.
So
maybe it was poorly planned.
Pilot debut. Well, yeah, because you figure if it debuts in theaters and people don't like it in the theater, no one's gonna watch it on TV, and then the pilot episode is gonna tank.
Yeah, it's a gamble they're taking.
Well, it's also gonna tank because if I go and watch it in the theater, I'm not going to watch it again on the 29th.
True. But I guess they want to hook you, and so you come back later for when the season continues.
Yeah.
See, to me, that just makes it confusing, because then at what date are they going to air the next episode I need to watch after having watched the first two in the theater? I need to... What?
If they're smart, what they'll do on the 29th is do a 2-hour premiere. Like the same thing you see in the theater, you will see that night.
Yeah, good point.
So then the following week, you are caught up to where you need to be.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what they'll do.
Because the longer they wait in between theater debut, and you're right, Mike, where they have to catch up to what they've already seen, people are going to forget the show exists, and they're not going to watch it.
Mm-hmm. And they're also going to, if they do something like what they will do sometimes with shows now, where they just skip a week. Shows so often today they skip a week. Are they going to do that after they premiere? If they give them a 2-hour slot, or is ABC going to tell them, well, then you're going to have to take the next week off and catch back up? And then it's going to...
Well, depending... I should actually... I don't know how long the first season is, but they're only going until mid-season.
Yeah, I'm on the IMDb page, and all the principal cast at most are... Like, everyone's only credited for 8 episodes so far.
Okay. So they might just do 8 episodes maybe straight, and then just end it, because I know when the mid-season stuff comes around, that's when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comes back. Because I think Inhumans is taking Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s time slot.
Okay.
So they surrender it for the mid-season for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to come back.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
So
I'm a little skeptical, but I've liked most of the Marvel stuff that I've seen on television, so I'm definitely going to at least give it a shot.
Mike, are you a Game of Thrones fan? And
no.
Brian, I know you're not really either. So, okay, so the one character that I saw in the trailer that I heard in advance was cast in this show. I have no idea how to pronounce this guy's real name, but he's from Game of Thrones. It's like Ewan, which is Iwan, and his last name is like Rheon, Rheon. It's probably Welsh or Irish, something. Like he's a Welsh actor. Like, I'm not even going to try.
It's probably Ian... I'm not even... Yeah, okay.
Yeah, see?
It's probably their version of Ian, and then... You said Rheon? Rheon?
Yeah, something like that.
Rheon.
But he played Ramsay Bolton on Game of Thrones. He was like one of the most hated villains on that show. And it looked like he's playing the villain character or the antagonist character in this show as well. He's playing this character Maximus. I dug him on Game of Thrones. I mean, if an actor can make you hate them that much, that means they're doing their job well.
True.
So I see him in the cast, and then I didn't know that these two dudes were in the cast also. Henry Ian Cusick, who was Desmond on Lost, as well as another Lost alumni, Ken Leung, who was Miles. And oh my god, Miles might have been my favorite character on that show ever. And it doesn't look like...
See, Desmond was up there for me, so I'm on board too.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like either of these actors or their characters have been a part of the Inhumans world previously, like on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or anything, so they're kind of coming in fresh at this point, so that could definitely hook me in. Yeah,
the way Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. brought it up was they introduced the Inhumans section, I guess, as part of what was happening on Earth with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The trailer for Inhumans, the show, sets up that the royal family of Inhumans has been hiding out on the moon this entire time. So I don't know if they may or may not be aware of what's happening on Earth with the Inhumans. I mean, that could be something they explain or set up, or explain why they're trying to come down to Earth to quote-unquote rule it or whatever.
Because they believe it's their own to begin with, is what it sounded like in the trailer, which...
But I'm just wondering, like, why are they hiding up there the whole time? Like, what sets it off that now is the point where they want to come back to Earth? So I feel like I'm hoping that's explained somewhere, because the trailer doesn't make that clear, and I'm not real familiar with, how that sets all that stuff up. So hopefully that's something the show explains in some way. Because you gotta figure there's a lot of people out there that have no idea what the Inhumans are. So they need to set this up for people that have no idea what we're watching.
Yeah.
So, we shall see. Let me ask you this. Do you guys plan on seeing this in the theater?
No.
I actually may, just because I kind of like those special event type of things. Anytime that they show like a Batman animated movie in a theater or just like a one-off type of thing, I think the event nature of it, the exclusivity of it, if it's the only time it's going to happen, and if you can catch it, great. I mean, how much of a commitment of time and money is it really? So if it works out, then yeah, I'll probably make an effort.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm hopefully going to get around to it. If it's one day, it could be hit or miss depending on what is going on that day.
Right.
If it sticks around for a couple days, it'll give me a better chance to try to catch it in the theater. But I guess you're going to have to go to, if it's shot for IMAX, specifically IMAX screens somewhere, so that'll limit theater release as well.
Yeah, I mean, I figured anytime companies do this sort of stuff, it's always like your AMC chains or Cinemark chains.
Yeah. So we'll keep you posted. If we end up seeing it early, maybe we'll talk about it after we see it. If not, then we'll just have to wait until it premieres, and we'll talk about it after that. All right, next trailer we have is for Jumanji. I guess it's Jumanji : Welcome to the Jungle.
Oh. Okay.
I guess this is the spiritual sequel to 1995's Jumanji, even though it seems to be taking a different approach for this movie. This one stars The Rock, Kevin Hart, Karen Gillan, and Jack Black. I think it's probably... we probably all grew up with Jumanji, right? You guys probably were fans of the original Jumanji?
I've seen it a few times, yeah, of course.
It was one of those movies that I feel like was around... I guess 95 would have put it around Jurassic Park, where it's like CG used in movies fairly well for, one of the first times I remember. That whole like stampede sequence and stuff with all the CG animals. That was a big thing back then.
Plus, Kirsten Dunst.
Oh, that's right. I forgot she was in that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Robin Williams and
of course,
and David Allen Greer.
Yeah, David Allen Greer.
But yeah, I totally forgot about Kirsten Dunst. All right, so what do you guys think of this trailer? Do you like the approach they're taking with this movie?
When I heard they were remaking Jumanji and they had cast The Rock in it, I just kind of said, I don't care how entertaining The Rock is, I'm out. And then I saw the trailer, and I said, okay, now this actually looks fun. So it kind of turned me. The trailer turned me from not wanting to take part in this to saying, okay, it looks like they're going to have fun with this.
Yeah.
Sort of the same. Now let's just all agree that they only picked that subtitle solely so that they could then use Guns N' Roses for the freaking trailers and crap.
Well, you figure if they didn't use that song in this trailer, it was a missed opportunity.
Oh, of course.
It's the most obvious choice. I would have rather them not used it, but now that they did, it's like, okay, you've used it now, move on, try some different marketing strategy.
Yeah, exactly. I was of the same mind. Like, why? Like, Jumanji was one of the last properties that was asking for a remake at all. Like, nobody was clamoring, like, oh, really? Where, that old one, that's my granddaddy's Jumanji. Where's my Jumanji? But I will say, I was, like, I think like Mike, I was very surprised that they somehow found one good avenue where they could tap into something like this without seeming completely sacrilegious to Robin Williams.
Yeah.
They didn't try to remake the story as we knew. They went the opposite way. Instead of him getting sucked into the game, time passing, and then him coming out and having to live life, okay, these people are in the real world, then they go into the game itself where the story takes place. And I did like the idea of switching it from a board game to a video game, but I thought it was a really smart idea that they went really old school, where it was like basically like a fictitious Atari parallel.
Yeah.
It was like if they had gone like very modern, it probably wouldn't have worked, because if a teenager in the year 2017 comes across a game that's for the PS4, of course they're going to know what it is. So they had to create the idea that, oh my god, no one's seen this in so long, i.e. the 80s.
Yeah. Which makes you think, since that's like sitting out in a school basement somewhere, like how many other kids have been sucked into that game that people just kind of forgot about? And they're like, oh, the game, just put it away. We don't know what happened to those kids. Just put the game away.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
I'm looking forward to the screen popping up and showing a pixelated version of each of the four of them running through, and they think, like, in their own mind, they're these badass characters like The Rock, or dumbass like Kevin Hart, or whatever it is. But in reality, they're just little pixelated things jumping across a screen.
So you have someone that's in the basement walking in and seeing the game being played.
Yeah, and it's like it pops up like
8-bit
little
graphics.
Yeah, it pops up like a little word bubble with what they're saying.
Oh, okay. So let's take that step. So I like this. So like, there's a big action sequence, and The Rock has to like jump vines to get over some break in the mountains or something. I'm
immediately seeing Pitfall.
Yes, Pitfall-esque. Shia LaBeouf in King Crystal Skull with the monkeys kind of crap. But on the 8-bit screen, all that the person is seeing is, right, just the little character, like, jump up, grab the vine, and go, and they're on the other side, and that's it.
Yeah.
What would be great is, like, during that sequence, you're hearing, like, Guns N' Roses' Welcome to the Jungle as they're playing it, and then you see someone watching the game, and you're hearing the MIDI version of Welcome to the Jungle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should have wrote this movie, by the way. This is already better than whatever they're going to do.
Creative consultants.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as we're in
and
the
that's
credits,
how they get out of
good.
the game, is they figure out that somebody can hear them or something, and they, the little talking bubbles that pop up when they speak, they can tell them, "Hey, we're actually trapped in here," and somebody's just like, I can use this joystick and make you go back and forth.
That makes sense enough that I literally won't be surprised if that's what happens. Like, that seems rational.
I feel like that's
enough.
the easy out.
It is.
I feel, it's because it's the same thing with the other game. Like the first one, you got to get them to go through their character arc and discover that they are actually people and everyone cares for each other and all that stuff, and then they pop back out or something. Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you guys on this. I not sure why they called it Jumanji. I feel like it could have been, like, it's such a far departure, I feel like, from what the original one was, that this didn't have to be called Jumanji.
Yeah, but they're going for that branding. Yep.
Right. That being the case, Jumanji is a marketable name. Everyone remembers Jumanji, so they can use that to get people to check it out. That being said, I do think the trailer looks cool. I was sort of, in line with Mike, where when you hear a Jumanji sequel is happening, you're like, why would they do that? There's no need for that. And yeah, watching the trailer, I think definitely the different spin and take on it has me excited. And I mean, I'm a video game fan, so if they get sucked into a video game, I'm already like, yes, this is like Tron, but not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's also remember, though, that this opens 5 days after Star Wars.
Oh yeah, it's a terrible release date.
Yeah, it's doomed in box office, but that's not going to change the quality of the movie.
Yeah, it just seemed like an odd time to pick. I don't know.
Which means go see it now, because you will not get a sequel to this one, because it's not going to make money, because Star Wars is going to get all that money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a real shame, because, I mean, yeah, there are a lot of things about it that look really redeeming. Like, I like Karen Gillan has grown on me a whole lot. Mm-hmm. Bobby Cavanaugh is also in this. But, I mean, you can't ever really go wrong with Jack Black or Kevin Hart. Come on.
Well, I mean, that's the other thing with the Jumanji term is, do you think they're getting The Rock, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, and Karen Gillan to sign on for this movie if they don't call it Jumanji? Because then that brings them to say, we were at a Jumanji, and then that name gets them involved in the movie. Without that name...
I feel like you could put The Rock... If you could just sign The Rock, everybody else follows.
True.
That's a good point.
But do you think you're getting The Rock into it if it's not Jumanji?
Yeah, I don't really know how he picks his projects. I don't know if it's just like, we're going to give you a truckload of money, and it doesn't have to be called Jumanji, or if it's more nostalgic because it is Jumanji, and he's coming aboard.
I think that's part of it. I mean, let's not forget, I mean, The Rock is supposedly running for president in a couple of years. Here.
Got my vote.
I mean, if you watch the Saturday Night Live, supposedly Tom Hanks is running with him. So, whether you like Donald Trump, you hate him, Democrat, Republican, whatever, just vote for The Rock and Tom Hanks and prove to the rest of the world how ridiculous America actually is that we will do that. Because let's face it, if there's somebody to succeed Donald Trump as president and level of ridiculous things you ever thought of, it is The Rock.
Which, if that happens, would literally bring about idiocracy.
Yes.
That is exactly what happened.
But I mean...
Is that Mike Judge movie?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm just saying, think about it. Then,
Oh, yeah.
The Rock is president.
I think, going back to the movie, I think that the
way to keep us on track, Joe.
Yeah.
The choice of release date, I think, either means that they think that's a really good shot because it's Christmas family season and they'll get a lot of families going to the movies between Christmas and New Year's. Or, as they continue to develop the movie, they realized this isn't going to turn out well and they're kind of looking for a dumping ground for it.
Right.
Or they're just dumb as shit and did not notice that Star Wars released that day. And they were just like, this is great. Nobody else is coming out around Christmas. Let's go with that. And then a couple months later, when they're already screwed and locked into it, they're like, Star Wars comes out 5 days? But shit.
Well, as soon as Star Wars was announced to be released that day, like, you saw a bunch of people moving release dates because they didn't want to touch Star Wars.
No.
Oh, yeah, they knew they were screwed. Star Wars was just like...
Yeah, I think the only thing I can think of is Josh is probably right. They're probably thinking Jumanji is some sort of counter-programming to Star Wars.
And, I mean, the movie Sing did the same thing last year. Like, I was surprised that it came out, it was a late December release, but between Christmas and New Year's, and a couple days after New Year's, as everyone is still off school and people are taking vacation time, that movie sold every seat. Everything.
See, I feel like kids' animated movies, it doesn't matter when it's released, they make bank. If
Yes.
if this Jumanji movie was an animated kids movie, I think it had no problem against Star Wars. The fact that it's live action, and I feel like is gearing towards the same market, then...
Yeah, but it's, I mean, in my opinion, it looks very decidedly, more family move. Not that Star Wars isn't a family movie, but it's not as sci-fi epic adventure franchise movie. It's just, look, fun family movie and people saying funny things and they fall down sometimes and they're in a jungle. And look, Kevin Hart, doesn't he look ridiculous in that hat?
Oh yeah, it's definitely that, and it's definitely, I mean, let's not forget the other factor of signing The Rock onto a movie is we're going to take his shirt off at some point, single mothers, like, come check this out. Like,
single mothers? You think they're only focusing on single mothers?
No, it's just the way that the term came out when I said it. They're focusing on all mothers taking children to see the movie and giving them an excuse to want to do it.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, anything The Rock's in may as well be called, The Rock in Jumanji, subtitle, it's not Magic Mike, but you'll like it just as much. Like...
Well, I will say, I think, overall, I was pleasantly surprised to find that I was more interested in the movie than I thought I ever would be.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Alright, so I think that's good enough for Jumanji. Alright, so we're going to move on to some headline stuff that we grabbed. First up, I guess, I can't remember if it was last year. I'm trying to remember when it came out. Ubisoft tried their hand at having an Assassin's Creed live-action movie, which came out to mostly negative reviews. Needless to say, it didn't really change people's opinions of video game adaptations. So now it seems like they're going to try to take this franchise to another direction with an animated television show.
Oh, animated.
So the show will be created... Yes. Actually, not just animated, but anime. It is a specific anime TV show.
Okay.
It's a show that will be created by Adi Shankar, which is the same person that produced this Castlevania anime show for Netflix, which is out now. And who also famously made that Power Rangers short film years back.
Ooh, you just perked me up.
This is the one Josh and I covered on the very first episode of the podcast.
Okay. You now you have my attention, sir.
It should be noted, I think when I was looking this up, that Ubisoft did make a few animated shorts for Assassin's Creed. There was one called Assassin's Creed Ascendance and one called Assassin's Creed Embers. I haven't seen any of those or really know what they are, so I don't know how well those fared, if they are anime style or if they are some other type of animation style. I know Romano's our big Assassin's Creed fan, so I'd be anxious to hear what he thinks about this at some point. But what do you guys think of an Assassin's Creed TV show as an anime?
I don't watch anime.
None whatsoever, even if it's something you know of?
Yeah, even if it's something I know of. I've watched like one Halo anime, and it was like, this was rough. And I think I watched the Chronicles of Riddick anime, and I just, That was just because it came with like the movie pack. I don't enjoy it. It's not.
Ian is shaking his head at you right now.
Ian can shake whatever he wants at me. I'm still just gonna have
Whoa,
the same
whoa!
answer.
Keep it PG.
Yeah, no, I find I'm the same way, Mike. There's a lot about the general style of the animation and a lot of the traditional choices that go along with that type of production that it's just a style that I don't particularly care for. Although, I'm not joking, the mention of Adi Shankar might get me watching Castlevania and might get me giving this a chance.
Yeah, I actually watched... I've been meaning to do Castlevania. I actually watched the first episode yesterday. I actually didn't look to see how many episodes it is or whenever, but... yeah, it's definitely... If it's any type of style like Castlevania, it'll be straight up, I think, anime style. But I did like the first episode of Castlevania. I'm anxious to see how that goes and stick with that.
And to be clear, before we continue, Ian watches hentai, not anime.
He might argue with you on that one.
We'll have that discussion sometime. You can let him know.
I would love to hear that discussion.
No, you wouldn't, because I'm not going to get into it. We'll worry about it later.
That could be a preview for a future show.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'm a fan of the Assassin's Creed franchise. The movie was okay to me. I'd like to see what they do with it, because I think it's a good idea for some sort of franchise. Like, the video games are good enough. I'd like to see them take that somewhere else, whether it be a movie or a TV show. I think there's a template for that. I think you can tell good stories that way. It's just that maybe they didn't follow through with the movie as well as I thought they could. So I'd like to see what they do with a TV show. I don't know where it's going to end up. Anything that I'd seen, it doesn't say Netflix. It doesn't say, some other avenue to where it could be released. So that could still be a work in progress. I don't know where it'll end up. Did either of you guys see the movie, the Assassin's Creed movie?
I did. I finally got around to it when it came to rental release kind of thing.
What did you guys think of the movie?
They could have done so much better. There's so much better potential for cinematic elements to be there in this series that's... I think pretty much the same as what everybody said on your show when you reviewed it, I believe, is that it didn't spend enough time in the past.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And that could be just a budget thing. I mean, animation's cheaper than live action, so they might be able to get away with more of the past assassin stuff in a TV show.
Yeah, well, that's
what everybody wants to see.
From what not being a gamer, like from what I understood of the basis for the video games in each of the different chapters, like, I think they were trying too much to get us to care about the present day story as to why the things in the past were happening. I honestly think if you would have given me 10 minutes of backstory intro as to why he's in the past, and then given me a really cool, like, epic espionage, secret agent, spy, ninja, killer, thriller, whatever, given me that for an hour and a half afterward, I think it could have turned out much better. It would have been more compelling.
I could go either way on that, where, have him be the present day assassin as opposed to going back to the past. Give it a flashback and have him be the present, what an assassin would be in the world today. Or spend a few minutes in the present and just go back to the past and make it the way they made the stories in the video games. I think both of those scenarios could have worked better than what they did. As far as the animation, I agree. They can get a lot more out of animation and whatnot from the series. They can explore more timelines than you're confined to within a movie. Because I feel like with a movie, you're confined to one timeline. In a video or in a television show, you can do a different timeline in each.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good way to spread out the story, as opposed to trying to truncate it into 2-hour time span and getting what you need to out of it. So yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with it. I think I'm sort of with Josh. I think Shankar is a good person to put behind this. I think he understands the video game world. He understands what works as some sort of series or television show or even a movie. I think he has a good eye for that kind of thing. So if he thinks he can make this work, I'm anxious to see what comes of it. Anything else for this one? Or we'll just keep on trucking.
Truck away.
Nope. All right. We're going to truck along. All right. So Paramount is moving forward on Top Gun 2. Well, they have officially set a release date for July 12th, 2019. And they have announced that they do have a director for it, which will be Joseph Kosinski. He will be directing Tom Cruise as Maverick, only this time Maverick will be the flight instructor teaching a new generation of pilots.
Ooh, what an original idea.
Kosinski, yeah, that's sort of what we all expected. Kosinski only has 3 movies on his resume. 2 of them you will probably recognize. One of them is Tron Legacy. Mm-hmm. The other one is Oblivion, which also starred Tom Cruise. Okay. I actually like this director choice. I thought Tron Legacy is an underrated film. I actually love that film. Oblivion, I think, is actually really good too. Mm-hmm. And I think he directs action really, really well. So I'm really anxious to see what he does with flight combat for a Top Gun movie. So what do you guys think? Excited for this movie?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's got its iconic status being Top Gun. But I'm going to want to see more of it before I get too excited.
Some sort of a trailer or something?
Yeah. Like, just an announcement, it's kind of, it's not going to get me yet. If it looks cool after a teaser, a trailer, something, if it looks like it's gone the right path, I'll be into it. I never got that into the first Top Gun. Like, it's a good movie. I have nothing against it, but it never held me the way that some people, I guess, were held by it.
They were held by it.
Yeah, I don't know any better way of saying it. It didn't. It doesn't.
I just picture this movie hugging people.
Well, it doesn't hold that spot in my heart. Let's say that it does for some people that remember the '80s movies that way. Okay. That's not one of the ones that does that for me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Josh, what do you think?
Well, I will say first, I dug the movie Oblivion. Thought it was pretty cool. Was it on air that we had once a couple months ago talked about like finding a movie that we thought it was ludicrous that one of us had never seen? Like, how have you...
I don't think we talked about that on air, but I think that was something we talked about for some sort of future segment maybe at some point.
Yeah, and maybe it was sort of one of those like, oh, you've never seen like The Goonies. What? And so like we would try to figure out a day like, oh, let's all get together and watch The Goonies with the virgin newbie moron. I have never seen Top Gun.
Oh, really? Okay.
I haven't been all that sad about it, though. I mean, like, so I'll throw out something else. I've never seen The Godfather. That is something that, like, every time I remember that I haven't seen The Godfather, I'm like, I really should sit down and watch The Godfather. I don't have that reaction to Top Gun. So
yeah, Top Gun. I don't know how you'd feel about Top Gun because Top Gun's definitely like a bro movie. Like it's hammering the bro stuff at you really, really hard.
I mean, I know its reputation, and I've seen like the little clips here and there as I've grown up and throughout my life. Like, you catch it on network TV or something for 10 minutes, but yeah, I can definitely get that vibe. I also think maybe it's one of those things. Even if you had seen it when you were a young teenager, like with your family on TBS reruns or something, like you're feeling about that movie and a potential sequel after all these years is going to be way different than somebody who's now 33 seeing a movie from the mid to late 80s now.
Sure.
Yeah.
And and who's not very enthusiastic about it to begin with.
I will tell you this, as somebody that's not a huge fan of the movie, it's worth watching for the soundtrack alone.
Okay.
Yeah.
It does have a fairly incredible 80s soundtrack. Like, pretty much everything you want's there. It's got a Kenny Loggins song. It's got its own original score. It's got everything.
Well,
the theme song for Top Gun is still like that's when I whip out on like 4th of July. Like, yeah, fucking America.
Yeah. Oh, it's pretty
That's
amazing.
the Danger Zone song, right?
No.
Just the sound,
instrumental.
like the guitar theme song that they have.
Oh.
I'm trying to think who the hell does it. I know. Oh, the guy that did Beverly Hills Cop theme song
Really?
does the theme song for Top Gun.
Yeah, okay.
And you can look up there's a guy that has actually made it better. His name's Joe Satriani.
Okay.
Has recently remade it for different mediums. I think he redid it one time for Guitar Hero. And
Okay.
like, because people just wanted to, it's not hard to play, but people wanted to play it on Guitar Hero just to feel like they were playing that song.
Isn't that why anyone plays Guitar Hero?
Yeah,
True
but
story.
there is actual challenges to Guitar Hero at different times. Like, this is not challenging at all. It's a very slow song. There's no challenge to playing it. It's just, you just want to hear it whenever you want. Like, I don't know.
Fair enough.
I feel like it's one of those theme songs, Josh. If you heard it, you'd be like, "Oh, that's from Top Gun."
Yeah.
Okay,
like,
fair enough.
it's the song Peter Griffin imagines when he puts the jet fuel in his pickup truck when he's being a redneck, and he imagines
Yes.
himself flying the pickup truck through the air.
Yes. I know that one.
It all comes back to Family Guy.
Yeah.
Rarely
to bring it
for
that
me,
way.
but that one just happened to hit.
Yeah, Josh, sort of talking about like the movies we haven't seen. I think it was you and I, because I think I confessed I had not seen The Goonies, and that was the one
really?
thing that you and I talked about. Yes.
When I feel
Wow.
maybe it was like really buried in my subconscious. I thought I just pulled that example out right now just as a random
No,
thing.
that was
to come
a
to my
personal
head.
attack when you said that person was an idiot that hadn't seen the movie, so I'm just going to let it slide.
I
But
literally
think,
did not remember
I think
that.
the one that you had mentioned is that you hadn't seen Bad Boys.
Correct.
You mean you've never seen Bad Boys 2?
No, oddly, I've seen Bad Boys 2, but I haven't seen any of them.
See, those are actually good Michael Bay movies. Like they play to Michael Bay's strengths.
Oh yeah, like I'm an Armageddon fan. I'm a The Rock fan.
Okay.
Hardcore. I
Yeah,
love
I
The
think-
Rock.
Again, this is definitely something I want to do sometime. Is like each of us will watch. We could do it one movie at a time. Where one time I watch The Goonies and we'll talk about The Goonies afterwards. One time you watch Bad Boys,
Sure.
we'll talk about Bad Boys after. But yeah, that's definitely something I want to do at some point. I think that would be fun.
Well, maybe I'll also have to add Top Gun to my have to watch with the group for the segment list.
If it becomes a reoccurring thing and we start making lists of what we have and haven't seen, yeah, we'll have to try to keep track of some of this stuff.
And from now on, whenever I'm on with Josh, I'm going to queue up the Nick Frost quotes. And they're just going to keep coming.
All right, so we're sort of excited about Top Gun 2. I think maybe I'm the most excited. I think, granted, I didn't see Top Gun until I was a little bit older. I never saw it in the theater. My dad never really showed it to me or anything. I just happened to catch it on TV and was like, you know what, this is a really good fucking movie. And it's one of those movies every time it's on, I just have to watch.
See, to me, the best
Um,
part of Top Gun is getting all the jokes and hot shots.
Yeah.
See, I've seen Hot
Yeah.
Shots.
That's the thing. I had seen Hot Shots before I saw Top Gun,
Oh, really?
so I'd seen it backwards.
Okay.
My dad is more of a fan of Hot Shots than Top Gun, which is why I've seen Hot Shots more than Top Gun.
Oh, I'm way more of a fan of Hot Shots than Top Gun.
Yeah, and I think Kaczynski's a good choice. I like him as a director. I have a feeling he would fit really well with this. And he's worked with Tom Cruise before, which, if people come back to work with Tom Cruise again, obviously they did something right.
Yeah, and it feels like, hasn't he had like one or two of the same directors return for Mission Impossible? Or
He's
directors who he's previously worked with other things sometimes then ended up doing a Mission Impossible later.
yes.
I think the guy who just
I know he
did
was
Rogue Nation, he did previously with somebody, like it was he did.
Chris McQuarrie did Jack Reacher,
Okay,
and then he pulled him for Mission Impossible 5.
that's it.
And then he pulled, I think McQuarrie might have helped work on stuff for Edge of Tomorrow with him.
Okay,
He helped work on The Mummy. Like I think he was brought in as like a script doctor for The Mummy. And then he convinced Chris McQuarrie to come back for Mission Impossible 6.
oh okay.
So he has a very good working relationship with Chris McQuarrie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it seems like maybe the relationship is the other way around. Like if you get in good with Tom Cruise, Tom Cruise says it's okay to work with you again.
Yeah.
Not so much that
he did,
you get to cast Tom Cruise again.
Because he did Oblivion with Kaczynski, and now Kaczynski's going to do Top Gun 2. He did Edge of Tomorrow with Doug Liman directing.
Yeah.
Doug Liman is now directing American Made with Tom Cruise.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, Tom Cruise is, keeping everybody sort of close to the chest a little bit there.
Yeah. Well, I know my sister and brother-in-law will be excited 2 years from now because like 11 years ago, when they got their dogs, 2 little puppies they got from the same litter, they named them Iceman and Maverick.
Nice.
Yes.
Oh, that's the other thing. Are we going to see Val Kilmer back as Iceman?
Oh, good lord. He has not held the shape that Tom Cruise has.
So we're not going to get the shirtless volleyball scene.
No.
But
and I don't think
he's
going to fit in an F-14 again.
Well, he could be an instructor, too.
He could be the water boy.
Or that.
At the volleyball game.
I think he will be dead. I don't think there.
What?
I don't see that happening just because of how badly he let himself go.
What will be the modern music choice in this movie's incarnation of the volleyball scene? And will they even go with volleyball? Like, how modern... I mean, I guess if you still have to keep it bro-ish, what...
Hacky sack.
I was thinking something like that, or like Ultimate Frisbee, but that seems like...
yeah.
Like that or hacky sack, though, seems too... hipster, hippie-ish.
Well, we're also assuming it's going to be men. It could be
true.
Two women having a beach volleyball scene and just turning it around and like it's not for the ladies this time, it's for the guys to watch the volleyball scene.
Yeah, but that just sounds like almost every movie ever made.
Don't just, like, spoil this for me.
Here's eye candy for you, men. Like, I think that's why a lot of people, not people, but like a lot of women especially, maybe liked Top Gun, because they're like, oh yeah, here come the man pecs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like that gets underscored as to how much that actually happens in movies.
Maybe, but it's also a vast, vast minority, let's be honest.
Okay, any movie The Rock is in, any movie Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester, there's a long list here.
There are, but think of it this way. If you have to have some of those specific people in a movie to have a shot like that, otherwise, those same movies that those people are in could also have 3 to 4 other mostly naked women or scantily clad women, nameless perhaps, that you'll never see in anything else. So the opportunities for Googling at women in movies is much greater.
Women are more attractive than men, and that's all we're getting at here, is because they can just grab a bunch of no-name women that you know nothing about. And we're getting off topic.
Yeah, I don't think you're helping your cause,
Not
Mike.
at all.
I think I'm with Josh on this one.
I think you actually...
The ratio is definitely like 2 to 1. Every one of those movies that guy is in, The Rock, is usually surrounded by at least 2 other women.
Which you had a good point there at the beginning, which is like, hey, let's turn this around, in which, women are becoming the heroic, fighter pilots. Great. Let's explore that line of thinking further instead of, hey, they'll be in bikinis.
That's the only reason he wants them in flight school.
No.
So they play volleyball.
No, that's not what I'm saying. You asked the question about the beach volleyball scene. I gave an alternative possible solution. I didn't have a song in mind. I mean, but, I don't know what song played in the old one.
Yeah, I can't remember either, now that you mention it. Okay, I'm just gonna sit here and think about what the hell was playing. No, we're just gonna move on.
Yeah. That'll be a comment on the social media once the episode gets posted.
Oh, I might fire up Top Gun before I go to bed and figure out the answer to that question.
There you go.
I might just fire up a Google search to get the answer to the question.
Or that could probably be quicker.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on, we have another Marvel TV show that is moving forward on, believe it or not, Freeform, that I'm not sure we talked about before. We're going to get Marvel's New Warriors are getting their own television show. Now, this is the same network, which was previously like ABC Family and all this stuff, has now been changed to Freeform. This is the same network that's going to get the Cloak and Dagger TV show sometime in 2018. So not only is the New Warriors moving forward, but they announced the cast. So they have, I think, 5 cast members announced, which I only sort of recognize 2 of them. And I'm going to butcher some names, so bear with me. Milena Weintraub. I think I'm saying that. Vayntrub. Weintraub?
Sure.
Either way, she is cast as Squirrel Girl. You probably don't know the name, but she is the AT&T girl from all those commercials.
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about.
I don't really watch TV, so I don't know the commercials, but...
Okay.
She's on This Is Us.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I just looked her up. She's cute. I could see it.
I mean, her little personality that she gives, I only know her from the AT&T commercials, but the personality I get from her from the AT&T commercials I think could work for Squirrel Girl, so I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Wait. She's a Russki.
A what?
She's Russian. They're letting the enemy in.
Oh.
If Hot Tub Time Machine taught me anything, it's that the Russians are perpetually always
drink
bad.
Chernobyl.
Yeah. Which comes full circle back around, because that was Sebastian Stan.
There we go. Alright, who else we got? We got Jeremy Tardy as Night Thrasher. Caleb Worthy as Speedball. Matthew Moy as Microbe, who... Matthew Moy, I guess, is Han from Two Broke Girls. The diner owner, the Chinese diner owner.
Did not watch it.
Me neither. I had the article I read told me that, so I figured there's probably some fans of Two Broke Girls out there somewhere.
Fair enough.
And last we have Kate Comer as Debris. Now, I know nothing about the New Warriors. Does anybody know anything about these people? Because I don't know. Other than Squirrel Girl, I don't know who these people are.
I don't know a whole lot. I know Microbe has appeared in other things. So I recognize the name, but don't know much about the character. The other ones, other than Squirrel Girl and Microbe, I've never heard of before.
Nope.
Okay. So it's new to everybody.
Everybody.
And even Squirrel Girl, I don't know that much about. She just appears in other things and kicks the crap out of everybody because they intentionally made her overpowered.
Squirrels, right?
Look it up. She was almost like a troll made. I think she came from the mind of Joe Quesada as a troll to piss people off because in certain formations she's the most powerful being in the Marvel universe.
Okay, that's hard to buy.
It is. Well, no, they did it as a joke, like to fuck with people. They did this. All
right, actually, the article that I found all these casting things from actually lists a little bit about each character. So maybe I'll try to just summarize some of these. Squirrel Girl is real name Doreen Green. She is totally empowered fangirl who has the incredible powers of a squirrel. Her greatest quality is her optimism, and her best friend is a pet squirrel, Tippy Toe. That's all I got there. That's all they're telling me about Squirrel Girl.
That's all they're telling me there.
Night Thrasher, brilliant and noble, and maybe a bit full of himself. He's a shameless self-promoter and entrepreneur who also deeply believes in justice. That's all we got for Night Thrasher. Speedball is an impulsive people pleaser with a misplaced sense of confidence who throws kinetic balls of energy that are completely out of control. Microbe is a shy hypochondriac who has the ability to talk to germs, which can tell him where you've been, what you ate, and who you hung out with. It's impossible to keep secrets around him. Okay. And last we have... What did I say she was? Debris. Debris is a proud, funny, and quick-witted, confidently out as a lesbian, is a low-level telekinetic, very low. Like she can move a paper cup low. That's all they tell me.
Okay.
So those are your characters. They're gonna be on Freeform.
Okay. So to review what I was getting at, to give you an idea of what they've done with Squirrel Girl, I'll give you a list of 3 characters she has defeated on her own, and you figure out how. First is Deadpool. The second is Doctor Doom, and the third is Thanos. she has taken down solo. And it always kind of, the Squirrel Girl thing kind of works. It's silly, but she'll go into a fight, it won't explain a damn thing, and the next panel it pops up with somebody coming in like, how'd you do that? Well, and it's just kind of a shrug and a wink wink. Like they did it, like I said, to fuck with people, like, because everybody's like, oh, we want the badass characters to be the most powerful, and it's like, she talks to squirrels. So
fair enough.
It's supposed to be a comedy series, is it not? So
I'd seen nothing about that saying it's supposed to be funny.
I had read, and what I read about it, it said it was almost supposed to be like a sitcom.
I don't know. I expect some sort of teen drama type thing if it's on Freeform.
Now I have to look back because I thought I had read this was going to be.
I feel like it's going to be a mixture of that, but if it's on Freeform, like you can't have that level of ridiculousness in the mix without it being, comedic in nature. It's got to be that with like some, real drama, tense subplots and arcs built into it, but at its heart, it's got to be very lighthearted, right?
It's calling it a comedy series.
Okay.
Yeah, it says Marvel's New Warriors lineup revealed for Freeform comedy series.
Oh, it does. Okay. Yeah, I am seeing a headline. Lead to ensemble cast of the straight-to-series Freeform comedy. Yep.
So.
All right. So that'll be interesting.
Well, Squirrel Girl fits
I'm
the
less
comedy.
interested now that it's a comedy.
Really?
Yes.
I think I'm interested to see what they do with comedy. Why not? They're not taking any significant characters and turning them into comedy. They're taking characters that nobody really gives a damn about.
Right.
And they're saying, let's see what, life as a supervillain or superhero would really be like for people that don't understand or don't have powers that are all that special.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I could go either way. I still don't know how I feel, but anything on Freeform doesn't get me excited.
Yeah,
I feel like Cloak and Dagger should be cool, and because it's on Freeform, I am already less interested.
Well, see, Cloak and Dagger should be on like HBO or Cinemax or Netflix or something where they can do whatever the hell they want. Is where Cloak and Dagger belong as characters. The New Warriors, I don't know enough about to tell you, but
we'll have to wait and see, I guess.
I've got too much other crap going on in my life and too many other things I watch already to fit time for this, probably. But I don't know. Who knows?
Well, if any of us check it out, feel free to come back and talk about it.
I will
whenever it
bring it up
there.
someday because I will watch it. Because I'm a Squirrel Girl fan, I will watch it. Yeah, I will watch at least a couple episodes until I see how terrible it is.
Then you're the ambassador of the show. You're the ambassador. You're the New Warriors ambassador to the podcast show. So it'll be your responsibility to sway us all.
Okay.
Challenge accepted.
No. Not challenge accepted. I will watch and I will determine whether or not it's worth trying to sway anybody. I'm not taking a Kong stance on this one. This is way different than that.
All right. The last news story that I got, or headline that I have, a while ago, Nintendo released a mini NES, preloaded with like 30 or so classic games. It was a pretty big hit for the company. They sold out everywhere. It was, and I feel like still is, pretty damn near impossible to find unless you want to pay like 5 or 6 times more on eBay for this thing. So it's no surprise Nintendo wants to make another type of system like this. So they're going to move forward with a mini Super Nintendo that works pretty much the same way. It's going to come preloaded with 21 games, including the never-released Star Fox 2. It's set to release September 29th, which is the same day as Inhumans on TV. And it will be for $80 as opposed to the $60 for the NES. I do have the list of games. Do you guys want me to roll through this list of games that comes on this thing?
Go for it.
Yeah.
Okay. We have Contra 3 Alien Wars, Donkey Kong Country, Earthbound, Final Fantasy 3, F-Zero, Kirby Superstar, Kirby's Dream Course, Legend of Zelda Link to the Past, Mega Man X, Secret of Mana, Star Fox 1, Star Fox 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo Hyper Fighting, Super Castlevania 4, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Super Mario Kart, Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars, Super Mario World, Super Metroid, Super Punch-Out, and Yoshi's Island. I think it's a pretty solid list of games. Josh, I know you're not a big gamer, but I figured this a little bit more up your alley. Are you excited about this one?
Very much. I would probably be more excited if I didn't still have a working and somewhat still used, or utilized, rather, Super Nintendo.
Okay, fair enough.
That's kind of the era where my real video game interest stopped. I had friends that had like an N64 or a PlayStation 1, and I would sometimes play stuff at their houses and whatnot, but like the evolution that games took after that point, like the mid or late-ish 90s, like that's kind of where I got off ship. So there's a couple of the games in that pack that I still have, namely the Mario Kart, Super Mario World, Donkey Kong Country. I'm excited about Kirby, actually. I don't know why. I was a big freaking Kirby fan for some reason.
Like the suck and blow.
Marshmallow that just eat things. Oh.
It's
blow.
too easily there. I couldn't not say that.
That's fair. That was just like a slow pitch right over the plate. I left it there for you. Yeah, I think it's a really cool idea. I don't know if I'll get one myself. I think I was theoretically planning on getting the regular Nintendo one, but then they announced it like 6 months before they ever actually made it public, and by the time they made it public, it was sold out in like 13 and a half seconds, and I've never seen it anywhere. I never saw any other like marketing announcement or anything for it, so I kind of forgot that it had been released, and then when I remembered a few months later, I was like, oh, I can't find this anywhere, or it's ridiculously expensive. So I don't really know what I'll do with this one, but I might go for it. I don't know.
It's something with the first one they did that they should release more to meet the demand in the market for it. There's obviously a lot of... Yeah, they could make a bunch more money if they put more of these things out there. So I think they're going to be more prepared for that with the Super Nintendo version. I don't think you're going to have the
hopefully
same clogged market that you have for the old one. That said, there's a few games that I would like to see on there that didn't make the cut. An original version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, would have been much appreciated. Which Final Fantasies were on the list?
Only Final Fantasy 3.
Okay, see, now that's the important one, so that's from Super Nintendo. That's the one that everybody would want to be there, but it would be nice if they filled that list out a little more. Let's also remember that even for $80, a ROM for a Super Nintendo game, I don't think there was a single Super Nintendo game that even took up half a megabyte of space. So, with maybe the exception of games like at the very end of the console, like the Mario RPG, may have taken a few megabytes because it was actually 3D, on screen. It was fairly advanced for the Super Nintendo. And they could have put way more games onto that for that same price very easily. And I don't know why the list is so limited. It very easily could have been 500 games they put on there, and it wouldn't even take up a 1 gig flash drive. So, that part of it I don't quite understand. But, in general, the idea of just getting my hands onto a brand new Super Nintendo controller again is probably worth the $80 experience, because that's going to be a Super Nintendo controller that's going to smell hopefully just like it did the day you opened your first Super Nintendo box. And that to me is the appeal of this. Like going and getting a brand new Super Nintendo controller, not a used one, not a remade one, another brand new one, that's an appeal to me. So I'm heavily considering it. I have said before, you guys know, I do have an Xbox with all these games loaded onto emulators and everything. I don't need it to play the games. I need it to play the games with that old controller.
Yeah, I think this is one of those things where I'm sort of with Josh. I still have a Super Nintendo somewhere. I can't... Of course, now with modern televisions, you need some sort of adapter or something to be able to hook them up to TVs.
It's called a SCART.
The good thing about these... Yeah. The good thing about these setups with all these preloaded games, they come with an HDMI cord, so you can hook them straight up and right into modern-day televisions. So that makes it easy. So, I mean, I'm with Josh, a lot of these games, too, that I still own. Contra, Castlevania, Mario, like, they're all good games. But, yeah, I think just the fact that you can get them all together on the game, and like Mike was saying, just feel like you're playing a Super Nintendo that is now made specifically to be played on high-definition televisions, I'm cool with that. I didn't pull the trigger. I felt like I hesitated on the Nintendo when it came out, and then I just could never find it again. So this is one of those things where if I find it and I see it and I can grab it, I'm just going to have to do it and not think twice. Because I don't think you'll ever find it again. I think it's just going to be just as bad as the Nintendo when it came out.
Yeah.
As much as Nintendo you feel like should like money, they don't seem to meet demand with anything.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. Like they can't even, like, one could not even argue that, oh, well, you know, what we're creating is exclusivity, and that will increase the price later on. But that isn't true, because Nintendo is not going to control the second place market. So I don't know why, like, yeah, all you have to do is make more of what you've already put all the investment into making already, and just turn the machines on and crank out more, and people will buy them probably at a slightly, if not somewhat significant higher price than the first wave.
I think you could probably sell the original Nintendo one for probably $100 and people would still buy it.
Mm-hmm.
$60 felt like a steal.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe that's why they pulled it back. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they legitimately didn't expect it to sell as hot as it did, and when they saw the low price point, they're like, oh, well, we could have sold all these for so many more. Like, for so much more. Stop making them. We'll hold off for a little bit. Maybe in, like, another 2 years, we'll re-release it at a higher price. I don't know.
That could be, yeah. I don't know. Either way, I think, you know, if any video game fans out there that have played any of these, the regular Nintendo games or the Super Nintendo games when they were younger or anything like that, I mean, I'll give you some points of advice. If you find one of these systems, the regular Nintendo or this mini Super Nintendo, just buy it, because you will never find it again.
Yeah.
Because I'm regretting not going out of my way to try to find one of these things and grab it. So I'm hoping I can get lucky enough to find one of these Super Nintendos, but we'll see come September.
Yeah, just think of all the fun times you could have with friends on your HD TVs now, and actually be able to play some of these old games again with people, you know?
Bring back some couch co-op, because not enough games do that anymore.
Hell no, they don't.
All right, so that's the last news that I had. I know Josh had some stuff he wanted to bring up, so I will toss it over to Josh.
Well, Brian, it's just that time again. It's time for a Magic Minute. Hello, wizards, squibs, and muggles alike. It's time for a Magic Minute, where we talk about Harry Potter for as long as we need to. If you're thinking, hey, that's not a minute then, well, you can stick it up your whomping willow. So, we got a pre-4th of July treat in the Potter world. Right around the beginning of the month, there were some tidbits released through the Pottermore website about the filming of Fantastic Beasts and where to find them too, which I'm sure that will not be the actual title of it, but it's not going to be released for quite some time, probably. Filming is underway, and there's been some casting news on new characters, some names that we heard from the first one that those people didn't appear in the film, but now they will appear in the sequel. So let's just shoot through them real quick. The main arc of the plot in the second of what will be a 5-story series, remember that now. In part 2, we will, and I think we could have guessed this, we will see Johnny Depp's character of Grindelwald escape from the custody of the American Ministry of Magic, if you will, MACUSA, probably going back to wreak havoc in Europe or other locale around the world. We will see the return, again, no surprise, of Tina and Queenie, and this was this put a smile on my face. It is confirmed that Dan Fogler will be back as Jacob Kowalski. Frickin' hells to the yes. Because I've said it many times, I'll repeat it once more. Jacob is the absolute glue of that movie. I love so much about that story, and I think Eddie Redmayne crushed the character of Newt Scamander because he just created him from scratch with the help of the director and J.K. Rowling, etc. But there was no preconceived notion of that character, and Eddie Redmayne just created him out of nothing, and he was great. But Jacob Kowalski is the reason that I think you care about everything that's happening in that movie. As the Nomad, he is our avatar in that world. He's the one that walks for all of us, and I'm so happy he's going to be back, and I'm interested to see in what capacity how they will work that in.
I agree.
Ezra Miller will be returning as Credence. I again will pull my foot out of my mouth on that one because when we did our review initially, I said I can't imagine why he needs to be back. I felt his arc was wrapped up and that would be the end of it and the story could move on. But, this is all unknown territory that we're going to go in over these next, 5 movies, 4 that are left. So who knows what Credence's full potential is going to be and what involvement he's really going to have. But Ezra Miller will be back. I think I mentioned this maybe on a previous episode, or I know I did in person to some people. In the first movie, we get a quick mention of Newt's brother, Theseus Scamander. If you're wondering where that occurs, it's when Tina takes the suitcase with Jacob and Newt in it, and she takes it to the Ministry and lets them out while the Wizengamot is going on. And someone mentions Newt Scamander, and someone shouts from the crowd, "Scamander, the war hero?" And someone corrects him, No, this is his younger brother. Well, the war hero brother that they're speaking of, Theseus, will be in the sequel. And he will be played by an actor named Callum, Callum, Callum Turner, who has previously appeared in Assassin's Creed as the character Nathan. I don't recall that character, but I didn't really know this actor at the time I saw that, so I'm he's not coming to mind, but he did have a part in Assassin's Creed. Okay. He was in Victor Frankenstein, the one with James McAvoy and Daniel Radcliffe. And I know him from a movie called Green Room, with Anton Yelchin, about a punk band who accidentally get put in the middle of a murder that they then have to figure out how to get out of and survive. And that was pretty cool. So I'm excited to see him join the ranks. The film will pick up about a year after the end of the events of the first one. So the whole 5-part series is going to take place over about 20 years, from what I'm guessing. But the second film will be only about a year afterwards, so the following 3 presumably will be spaced out a bit further. Speaking of Grindelwald's exploits, it looks like he will be, or at least filming locations, if not setting locations for the plot. We will have action taking place in New York again, as well as London and Paris. And they did say that we should see a bit more of, call them homages or nods to the existing Harry Potter that we already know. They might try to work some of those connective tissues in a bit more. I think one of the takeaways from the first film is maybe audience reaction was they didn't feel as engrossed in the, quote, magical world of Harry Potter as they did with the original stories. So they might be trying to flesh those out a bit more.
Okay. That's impossible without Hogwarts. I
agree. I think it's a very tall order. But the fact that we will have a Dumbledore, a proper Dumbledore in this movie, played by Jude Law, I think could very much sway that. And my guess is that Dumbledore will play maybe not a central, but a very strong, significant secondary role in this movie. I don't think he's going to be just like a cameo to set up for part 3 or 4. I think Jude Law is going to have some serious screen time, in at least in the same way that Colin Farrell did in the first one.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that.
So that's about all that they've released so far. There's been some minor new characters and actors announced. Nobody that I recognize or names that sound familiar that I could speculate on. Having some connection to something else, from that world. But, any little tidbits that they let go, I am very happy to read about. I'm happy to pass on. Much like I've done with most movies the last 2 or 3 years. As soon as they release like one trailer, I will watch it, and then I will probably ignore everything else I see after that. I've found the last couple years that is the best way to enjoy movies anymore. I like getting one good introduction and then just waiting. That's it.
Yeah, I think I've actually taken that approach with a lot of stuff too. I think I might actually let slide 2 trailers, but that third trailer I avoid like the plague, because I feel like that's the one they spoil everything in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It feels like they drop any last things that they think, from focus groups or test screenings of the film in general. Like, they're looking for those additional points that potential audiences who aren't already in the bag for that particular property, what else can we let go that would get the remaining audience in the theater, perhaps? And the people who are already in the bag for it don't want to see anymore because they just want to be surprised and have, not to be punny, but like have an enchanting experience. They
sure
want, they want to.
I mean,
be,
between now and Christmas, I will have my fingers in my ears and my eyes covered for any Star Wars related trailer that pops up when I'm in a movie theater.
Yeah.
I'll give Star Wars credit. The marketing for Force Awakens didn't give away shit.
True.
Like, I've watched every one of those trailers, and I still had no idea what was going on by the time I saw that movie.
But do you want to take chances again?
With Star Wars, I think I actually trust Disney and Lucasfilm marketing to keep it under wraps. I think they've figured out the code, I think, for Star Wars. You don't have to show anything, and people are going to go see it.
Yeah, true.
Anything other than Star Wars, yes, yeah. I'm very skeptical of what I'm watching.
Yeah, I would agree to that, because as a casual Star Wars fan, I felt the same way about Force Awakens and Rogue One. I probably saw 2 trailers for each of them, and I mean, Rogue One, everybody who is, who even cared moderately already knew what the general basis of the arc of the story would be, but no one really had any clue as to what most of the stuff that happened was going to be. So yeah, I'll give you that on Star Wars, but even like, for Spider-Man Homecoming, I didn't see anything but the first trailer. I turned the TV off when TV spots came on, if it was on. I literally did that exact thing in a movie theater, closed my eyes, fingers in my ears, and like hummed to myself so I couldn't hear anything. And that's,
actually,
seems
I've done
to do
that
the
recently
trick.
too. I did that. I forget what I've seen recently where they showed the latest Spider-Man trailer, and I did that too. And then just recently, I think when I saw Spider-Man, they showed the latest trailer for War for the Planet of the Apes, and I was like, nope, I'm not watching that one either.
Yeah.
And did the same thing.
Especially, I mean,
can't wait for that.
Planet of the Apes is going to it will be released the weekend right before people are hearing this. So, yeah, when I was watching Spider-Man and there's like the last trailer for Planet of the Apes, I'm like, nope, it's only a week away. Nope, don't need to see it.
Yep. You've made it this long. Don't let it ruin right the week before.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, like I may see that before I see Spider-Man.
There you go. So that is about all I have for this incarnation of the Magic Minute. But the mention of Spider-Man might be a good enough segue, if any, into a potential news segment if listeners find it to be interesting based on your feedback.
We never get comments, so we don't know what people find interesting.
Well, it's up to you now, folks. You've got to go online and vote. Your comments will determine what happens.
Ian, this is on me and you,
man.
man.
Show.
We'll get one vote for each side, and that'll be the end of it.
America needs to hear your voice. So this is something that kind of occurred to me a couple of months ago. I forget who the first person was that I noticed it with, but as the Marvel Cinematic Universe expanded more and more, and then DC reinvented their game from Man of Steel on, there are now common faces that we are seeing among a bunch of different comic book properties. Now, this is thinking in mind strictly of, we'll call them Marvel and DC Comics proper properties. So we're not thinking graphic novels like Watchmen or V for Vendetta or things that are on like imprints or things like Spawn. So the idea was, does somebody appear in sort of more than one universe? Whether it's in literally like right now in both current incarnations or just in things in the past, but they've, crossed the streams, so to speak. We're kind of toying with the idea of calling this like walking between two worlds. And
I like that title. Like if we do this, I think that title sticks.
Okay. I'm game with it. I'm also open to suggestion, but if we want to run with that, we can. So
until we hear something better in the comments, we'll use that one.
Yes. The comments, because that's where it'll come from. So the reason that Spider-Man is a good jumping off point for this, and a good selection for the inaugural installment is, with the release of Spider-Man Homecoming, as I was looking up, trivia and fun facts afterward, some of the articles I was reading were making connections between past parts of the franchise, as they always do. And one of the things they mentioned was that the actor Cliff Robertson, who played Uncle Ben in the Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire trilogy, I guess he's really only technically like really in the first one and maybe sporadically used in like flashbacks or little pieces in the other two. But playing Uncle Ben in that trilogy, he actually was in the original 1966 Adam West Batman series as well. He played a character called Shame on that series, and I have not seen those episodes in so long that I could not tell you what that character was. But over the 3 seasons that show originally aired, he played the character 5 different times. And, then almost 35 years later, he goes across the street, so to speak, and ends up in a Marvel property, even though, that is strictly in, we'll call it Sony's world. So I kind of have these broken up at different points, kind of by Marvel and DC, but also, especially within Marvel, you have Marvel, you have Marvel Fox, Marvel Sony, et cetera, et cetera. So, and some of them get really effed up because now with Spider-Man Homecoming, it is Marvel, but it's also Marvel Sony at the same time.
Yeah.
And interesting to note how close to the actual creation of Uncle Ben that he was taking place in those old Batman television shows.
Yeah, good point.
So, kind of at the same time, yeah.
Yeah, that he's appearing on Batman. So, so that's our jumping off point. So there's an actor or an actress who kind of dabbles in both sides of the street or different universes among the mainstream comic book movie or TV properties. And I got quite a list going, actually. There's a lot of names on here, more than you'd think. But as we do these from time to time, we will just kind of tick them off the list.
Yeah, when we were recording the 100th, Josh actually showed me the list that he has compiled so far. So we do, there's a good bit to talk about. I think we sort of talked to we sort of limit it to just whenever Josh is on and wants to tick another one off the list. That's sort of what we'll do. And if it brings up a discussion, then so be it.
Yep. So that is that.
All right, not a bad one to start with. I think that works. Give them an idea of what we might try to do in the future. All right, so I think the last thing we have to talk about, we're just going to do sort of the what's up with you stuff, which I mean, obviously, it's the first time I think I get to use the little intro that Andy recorded unwittingly for this type of thing. But if you've never listened to this or are not sure what we do with here, this is just kind of stuff we talked about that doesn't normally come up in some of our other topics. It's kind of just stuff we've been seeing or played or read recently, anything that sort of falls not even under that geek spectrum, just, what we sort of do in our free time that could, I don't know, classify under this banner of what we've been up to. So again, I'm really excited to be able to use this little intro clip courtesy of Andy, so cue the clip.
What's up with you? Not much, man. What's up with you?
Alright, so where do we want to start? Does anybody want to go first? I don't know. The only problem is I don't know how long we want to go with this, so we might have to go through quickly, but...
I'll go first.
Oh, go ahead.
All right, well, I've been just catching up on a bunch of movies that I missed in the theater that I didn't really care to see in the theater, like got to see The Fate of the Furious and Power Rangers recently.
Any quick reviews on them? What'd you think?
I was fairly impressed with both.
Okay.
Fate of the Furious felt like a different avenue, not going with some badass dude who's going to be this incredible fist fight for them at the end of the movie to go through. I thought that was an interesting turn to take a more psychological aspect to their villain. And, as always, the action was interesting. And the Power Rangers thing, I kind of agreed exactly with what we had discussed before. Interesting teen drama. Pretty much everything that happened once they got into the suits, I thought sucked. That would be my whole review of the movie.
That's a fair review. Yeah.
Other than that, I've been working on statue collecting, and I'm considering just going straight Star Wars. I'm considering selling the Ultron and the Doctor Doom and Thanos, the Juggernaut, the other ones around, and converting that into all Star Wars. Because recently, Sideshow released the premium format Darth Maul statue that has a...
was that the one I sent you the link for that you already knew about?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Carries
that one looked badass.
Yes, it does. And it carries a hefty price tag.
That it does.
I want to say it was $500 or $550.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I can get more than that for my Ultron statue if I go on eBay. So I think I'm going to be selling Ultron to get to that Darth Maul. I only really bought the Ultron just as a speculative thing because I knew the price would go up because it was a very small edition size that they had made for Ultron, so the value would go up over time. So I'm thinking I'm going to look at that Darth Maul, and they also have an incredible Han Solo coming out soon. If you look on Sideshow's website, the face model for it is incredible, and he comes with like every different blaster that Han used in the movies is going to be there. Is a possibility.
Nice.
Pretty awesome looking figure. They also have the Luke in the Rebel fighter pilot uniform.
Okay.
That's always been the Luke statue that... There's two Luke statues that I really want them to make that they haven't really made. That's one of them, and the other is the Return of the Jedi Luke I want a statue of. And of course, they're making the Empire Strikes Back Luke with the all kind of whitish, tannish, Cloud City outfit that he had on. That's not the one I want. If I'm going to buy a big Luke statue, it's got to be that Return of the Jedi one. I believe the orange suit one they're doing is going to be the 12-inch, not the quarter scale. It's going to be the 6th scale. So it's not going to be as big. So I may still go ahead and get that and hope that soon the Return of the Jedi one comes. But that's pretty much where I'm at as far as the statue collecting goes. Is I'm considering a complete shift to just the Star Wars stuff. And Yoda will be coming soon. That was my wife's birthday present for me, was the pre-ordered Kotobukiya Yoda that
nice.
Should be soon. It's not very big. It's not... he's going to be, 6-7 inches probably. Okay. But same as the other ones I have. You've seen those. They're...
Yeah.
Not...
Alright, so you got a nice little list started.
Oh, yeah. I have a shopping list of these statues.
You start taking some pictures when the set's complete.
Well, I don't think it'll ever be complete. I mean, I'm just being honest, because there's things that are always going to be out there that I may someday get if I get all the other stuff I want. Like, Kodo has an AT-AT driver. I do not give a shit about having an AT-AT driver. Well,
that's fair. I mean, complete as much as you want.
Okay.
I'm not saying you have to buy every Sideshow Star Wars figure that was ever created, just the ones that you want.
Okay, fair enough. I think I have one shelf that looks complete the way I envisioned it when I started collecting. And that's like the 6th scale Darth Vader and Kylo next to each other. That's kind of a complete shelf. That's not going to change. Those two will stay right where they're at. The others, I have no idea. There's plenty more space for other stuff on the other shelves.
Fair enough. Yeah, if you ever want to share a picture with us, you can pass that along, or put it up on the Facebook page even, or something, or give it to me to put on a Facebook page. Either way.
Sure. I posted a while ago on my own Facebook, so if you can draw them from there, because I don't know if I have them on my phone, but I'll send them to you either way.
Okay. Yeah, we could do that. If you want to brag a little bit, we'll show them off. Anything else from you, or is that about it?
Now I'm just waiting for Destiny 2 beta next week. Then I'll have more to talk about as far as that goes. For now,
okay.
Video game wise, I'm in a black zone. Destiny 2 beta next week. Then I'll be playing again a lot.
Fair enough. Josh, what do you got on tap? Or did you have on tap?
Not a whole lot, actually. We finally got around to watching Iron Fist.
That's one of those things we never actually got back to talking about.
Yeah, that's okay.
That was sort of my thought, too.
It was boring and disappointing, especially after 3 or 4 fairly quality productions of 2 seasons of Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and even Luke Cage. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Like, we after hearing everyone talk about it, we weren't expecting much, but we're like, okay, well, we have to watch it before Defenders, so let's get through this 13 hours of our life. Okay.
So I have a question for you on that, actually.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you needed to watch it before Defenders? Because I have not yet watched it because of what everyone said about it. Do you feel like you're going to be missing something if you know the general story of Iron Fist already? Is there something there I'm going to be missing that I'm not going to get Defenders?
I don't know, because I didn't know the general story of Iron Fist, so if you're already ahead of the game, you may not need to. The other thing is, like, where it left off as an individual series, I don't know where it is supposed to go that is then going to tie this character into bringing him into New York with these other characters for this common threat. So maybe you might need it, but then again, they might just have some exposition within some of the Defenders stuff that explains exactly that. So you could my guess, Brian, what do you think? I mean, I think you could probably get away with not seeing it, but if you want to, it can't hurt. It's just not very.
13
very
hours
good.
of my life gone for something that hurts a little.
I know, and it's like the thing is, like, I don't know. I felt like for the first 2 or 3 episodes, like, we got through them pretty quickly. Like, we did like 2 episodes per night for like 3 nights in a row, and it didn't feel that bad. But then once it got to like episode 8, 9, 10, and you're like, how many of these are left? You're like, where's the story? What is the conflict? What is really happening here? And admittedly, all those series, other than Daredevil for me, Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, both, like, once you hit episode, like, 10, for me, like, they really dragged. Like, it felt like they could have condensed those 2 shows down to, like, 10 episodes. It would have been better. But, yeah, with Iron Fist, you're just like, what is going... No, you're not even confused. Well, no, you are. You are. I'll just say it.
Obviously, you're confused. We can tell.
There's this crap that they introduce, like, in episode 10 that, like, completely shifts the whole story. And it's not even, like, a twist. It's just like, okay, it's like, we're just gonna start writing, like, season 2 now. Like, here's season 2. Here's, like, a completely different story arc that really has nothing to do with like the last 9 hours. It was not as well crafted and written and everything as the other ones, and that got frustrating. I don't know, Brian, what do you think? Can he skip it?
I don't know. Mike, I'd probably better be able to answer your question after I see the first couple episodes of Defenders.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Defenders, at least from the trailers, seem to be setting up the Hand. The Hand is the primary villain of Iron Fist. So you may get some Hand stuff in Iron Fist that could come out and pay off in Defenders. As far as Danny Rand as a character, no, I don't think you need to watch Iron Fist before Defenders.
Agreed. Okay.
I found myself kind of really annoyed with Danny Rand. I thought he was a stubborn brat that I had a really hard time caring for over the course of those 13 episodes. And sort of like Josh was talking about, somewhere around like 7 or 8 of all the past Marvel Netflix series, there's usually a good twist that is like, oh shit, I can't believe that happened. Now I must keep watching. They tried to do a twist like that in Iron Fist, but it was a very predictable twist and did not hold my attention and want me to keep watching. I was just begrudgingly trying to get through it. So the only reason I think you should watch it is maybe for the introduction of some supporting characters. Claire gets a little bit more growth in Iron Fist.
Yeah.
But primarily probably for the villain. Like the Hand as an organization, you get fleshed out a little bit more, which could pay off in Defenders.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay. I missed a lot of what you said after you said I may get some Hand stuff from the Defenders.
Oh, you would get gravitated on
and
stuck on that.
And that is all you'll need to know. Sir, so.
and you get some growth from Claire, and oh man, it's just all there.
You could have stopped me at any point and said, "I'm losing you now." Rephrase your sentences.
But that doesn't make for good television, Ryan.
That's true.
So
yeah, it's a mix.
Yes and no.
It depends if you just want to power through. Again, I'll tell you for sure after I watch the first couple episodes of Defenders. Right now, I'm leaning towards no.
Yeah.
Okay. What I will do
again,
is I will watch the Defenders
summarize.
then, and if I feel like I need to watch the Iron Fist show afterwards, I will go back to it.
That's probably a good way to play it.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
I think
style.
Danny Rand I think Danny Rand as a character will play better off of the other characters in Defenders.
Yeah.
Having his own series with some of the other people he encounters, it just didn't work as well.
Nope.
I can't think of her name, but the girl character, the girl karate instructor.
Colleen.
Yes. I liked her character. She was a highlight for me.
Until episode 10, then I got sick of her.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. But I found myself caring more about her than Danny Rand, which is really terrible for an Iron Fist show.
Yeah, but
Agreed.
Danny Rand is supposed to be a dick.
No.
But you expect some sort of character growth. By the end of the series, you should be rooting for him.
No, I'm saying
he made no character growth whatsoever over 13 episodes.
The comic book character is supposed to be a dick, is what I mean. He's supposed to be that pompous, rich jackass that finally comes back down to Earth eventually when he joins up with Luke Cage.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Luke to bring him back down to Earth.
No, that's the thing. He's not a dick. He's just he's an uninteresting character. He's not even self-destructive.
Oh.
He just seems to not be a same thing. I found myself not really caring what happened to him.
I felt like every episode, someone was explaining to him what he's doing wrong and how to fix it. And he would go, yes, I'm going to work on that.
Yeah.
And the next episode, do exactly the same fucking thing. Someone to explain it to him again, and he still doesn't change. Like, there has to be a character growth or an arc to it somewhere in there to see that you're making some progress. He is the same character beginning to end of that series.
Yeah, and like you said, not in like, oh, he's such a douchebag kind of way. Just, like, he's... I don't even know what to call him, like almost aloof, like too.
I feel like he's just stubborn. He just doesn't want to listen to people.
No, not self-absorbed. That's it. Like they did not play the character like that at all.
Okay,
but just like stubborn, yes. But I just found like flighty.
Okay, yeah, I can see that too.
Like you just did at certain points want someone to smack him. Like, Danny, just freaking do this, you schmuck.
Yeah. I had that reaction a lot too.
Just stop it.
Well, was there anything good that you've watched recently?
Haven't had a whole lot of time for like TV and binging stuff. Like we missed this entire second half of the season of The Flash, so we'll have to catch up on that at some point. Like we haven't seen any of it. We ended up like we got through the first half of the season last fall, but yeah, we're completely behind on that. Other than that,
those CW shows hit Netflix really quickly, so I think the rest of the season should be on Netflix right now.
I just checked today to see if it was. I think it is. So that should really help, because then we don't even have to worry about fast forwarding through commercials. We can just binge the episodes. So we'll probably do that in the next couple of weeks.
I still love that show.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the end.
The way that season wraps up.
Yep.
I text me when you're done with it, because I'm just curious what you think, because it went a direction at the end of that series that I wasn't. I don't know. I don't think it's an ending point, but it feels a lot like an ending point, and I'm really curious where they go from there.
Okay. Other than that, no, I mean, we've been working a lot and everything, so it left us very little free time, but when we did, definitely took advantage of our employment perk at the theater, so I blasted through a bunch of movies in the last, like, month and a half. King Arthur, Wonder Woman, of course, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Mummy, Wonder Woman again. I'm sure we'll talk about this. I won't be surprised if this ends up on several of our 2017 lists. Baby Driver.
Yeah.
And then I just saw Cars 3 and Spider-Man. So, just kind of been keeping it up at the theater. Other than that, in terms of reading, I finally, and I have to apologize to my very, very, very good friend, to whose daughter I am a godparent. My friend Paul Anderson is a published author. An anthology of his horror stories was published last fall. It's called Bones Are Made to Be Broken, and we ordered a copy, and I've had it, and I did not make adequate time for it, but I just cracked it open, so I'm into like the third short story so far, and I'm really digging it, so you guys should check it out on Amazon. Other than that,
good plug.
Yeah. Other than that, we're just getting by, waiting for the next couple of good movies to come out. Planet of the Apes, Atomic Blonde, Valerian, Dunkirk, Dark Tower, Hitman's Bodyguard. Looking forward to Lucky Logan.
Yeah, there's a lot in the next couple month and a half probably.
Yeah. Blockbuster summer movie season is definitely full.
Yeah. I'm sort of with you. I've been trying to make my way to the theater probably every week to see a bunch of stuff. A lot of the stuff we didn't talk about on the show just because I don't think a lot of people went out of their way to see the stuff. And I think you mentioned all the ones I was thinking of. Mm-hmm. Cars 3 I saw, which I thought was really good. I didn't see Cars 2. I think Cars 3 works as the best sequel to Cars 1. Okay. And I actually really liked Cars 3. I thought that was a good way for that series to go. I did see Pirates 5. I was bored with that one. I don't know where that series is going to go. I mean, there was a couple key sequences in that movie that I found fantastic. The guillotine sequence stands out to me. I loved everything about that one. But by the end of the movie, I was pretty much checked out and didn't really care. And plus the end credits scene for that raises a lot of questions, which we won't get into here because that contains spoilers.
Plus it doesn't matter.
Well, we'll see where they go with it. Yeah. I did see The Mummy as well, which I didn't think was terrible. I don't think it kickstarted this shared monster universe the way they wanted it to. I don't know. I normally don't have a problem with Tom Cruise movies, but whatever reason, he just did not feel like he fit in this movie. I felt like he was playing a different character than what he normally plays, which is nice. I just didn't think it needed to be Tom Cruise for it, and it just kept pulling me out of the picture. I would have rather seen someone else in that role, but I guess they needed to market it somehow with a big star, so that's who they got. What else did I see? I did go pay money to see Transformers the last night.
You didn't have to admit that.
Yeah. It was, I'll put it this way. It's my second favorite Transformers movie. However, the other, like, 2, 3, and 4 are such dog shit that is not, like, a good review. I mean, the first one is still far and away the best one, in my opinion. Then far down the list is The Last Night, and then way at the bottom in the pile of dog shit is the other 3. it contradicts itself. Every Transformers movie retcons the other ones to the point where you have no idea what this story is trying to tell. The whole thing with Optimus Prime, he was in the movie for maybe 10 minutes, which was really stupid. The little girl character that you see in the promos has no purpose in this movie whatsoever. Michael Bay tries to make smart female characters, and that's basically just telling you that this female character is smart. Meanwhile, the only reason she's there is to pick up a stick. That's about all I can say about that right now.
Well, I'm just
Mark
gonna
Wahlberg's
go see this
fun,
tomorrow,
I guess. Then. Yeah, right? It's a glowing review. Mark Wahlberg seemed like he's at least having fun doing it. He's enjoyable to watch. Anthony Hopkins actually stood out to me. I think he made it seem like he knew exactly what movie he was in. It was actually pretty damn funny.
Though? Like when's the last time you went and saw Anthony Hopkins in something and were like, he didn't do it?
I mean, I really thought Transformers might be it because I had no idea why he's there and what Michael Bay would have him do. But Anthony Hopkins' jokes and the way he plays that character works for me. All the other Michael Bay humor in this movie is just, I'm so over it and it's not funny anymore. That was really, really hard to get through. And we talked about it on the 100th, but Baby Driver. Baby Driver for me is definitely in my top 3 this year. I loved that movie. I've seen it twice. I would gladly go see it again. I've been listening to the soundtrack nonstop. I would love to see if them do a sequel. I don't know where they really go with a sequel, but if they want to move forward with a sequel, I'm there. Chalk me up. Other than that, I think that's probably all the movies I've seen recently that we haven't already talked about on the show. And like Josh said, there's a lot coming up that I am anxious to see. I think probably most of those that he named I'm looking forward to. I haven't really been watching too much on TV. I mentioned I started Castlevania. I could come back to that maybe after I've watched or finished that series. Games, I haven't been playing anything new. It's mostly just I end up playing the same crap over again. Oh, that's not true. You know what? We did try playing the Marvel Heroes Omega.
Yeah.
The free Marvel game, which sort of like a dungeon crawler, Diablo-esque type of game. If you haven't played it, it's free to download. So if you are a fan of Marvel games, you can download the game for free. You play through the tutorial. They give you enough currency to purchase one of like 8 or so characters to start with. And then you either grind away to unlock more or you pay money to unlock more, whichever way you would prefer. But it's still fun to pick up and play. I'm only maybe like 3 or 4 chapters into the story, which is like 10 chapters long. So I think there's enough content there, at least right now, to keep me playing. We'll see once I max out a couple characters that I have and see if it brings me back. I think it's something fun to play with with your friends or, a group to play. I haven't been able to do that recently. I think mostly I've been playing by myself recently, but we gotta organize some group activities with that one. I think that'd be fun.
I agree. The only thing I was looking for, I think I discussed this with you before, Brian, was more challenge out of the game. It feels extremely easy.
Yeah, I get. Yeah.
It's still fun to go around as, Deadpool shooting off 2 guns just nonstop in whatever direction you decide to go, or doing handstands and backflips while he's shooting the other gun, or shooting out a bow and arrow that has a Hulk fist on the end of it that explodes. It's still fun to do those things. I just feel like it's not challenging me in any way yet. Maybe I need to get to the more endgame content, but when I get there, maybe it'll be more challenging. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think it's one of those games you can just pick up, play for an hour, and be like, oh, okay, I get everything about this game. No, it forces you to play it for a while before you really get a feel for it and figure it out, I guess. So, yeah, that could be one we come back to. We'll see if we're still checking that out or what we think later on. Other than that, I'm sure we'll get some more movie reviews at some point that probably we don't touch on the show that will fit into one of these segments later on. But I think that's it for me. You guys got anything else you want to add, or we'll wrap it up? I think we've gone long enough.
I think we've given the listeners much to think about and even more to comment on.
Keep digging for those comments.
In the social media platform in order to join the discussion.
On the Facebooks is the area.
Yep. The Facebooks, the Twitters, the emails, all of those will work.
Get on Instagram.
Right, so
that's what the kids do these days.
Yeah, I guess that I'm not on every avenue of social media. I can barely keep up with one, let alone 3 or 4.
We need a Vine. That's what we're missing.
The now extinct 6-second video that doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. Well, we just finished off polishing the MySpace page, so it's about time we get up to times.
Yeah.
That's true.
Tom is still our friend. Alright, so that's a good time to wrap it up. If you've enjoyed the show, please stop by iTunes, leave us a 5-star rating and review. If you leave us a review, again, we'll try to read them. I keep checking every so often for reviews. We haven't had to do one in probably like a year or two. So any reviews you give us, good or bad, we'll read them out. What the hell?
Yeah.
So while you're there, be sure to share, subscribe, favorite the show. As these guys mentioned, you can find us on Facebook, search for Bry Guy Super Friends, or go to www.facebook.com/Bry Guy Super Friends. We are also on Twitter at BG Super Friends, and you can email us questions or comments at bryguysuperfriends@gmail.com. Any of those avenues work. Feel free to leave us whatever you like. Questions, comments, topic suggestions, any of that good stuff. Anytime we get, we don't get a lot of fan interaction, so if you give us some, we will make use of it in some way, hopefully, somewhere down the line.
You'll get
not right away.
You'll get your comment and name read out live on TV.
Yeah, we can give you a shout out. Everybody wants to be internet famous, right?
Boom.
We can do that for you.
I will go commit a crime so that I am on television to read your comment. That is what I like. I will do it just so that we're actually on television.
Yeah.
The views and opinions of Mike Bradley are not reflective of those of the podcast.
You'll be a PodTube star.
Yeah.
PodTube. We'll take it. Again, on behalf of Josh, Mike, and myself, thank you for listening. We'll talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.